some of that caliber is here. Keep in mind, ladies and gents, Dignitas and Immortals, they did face off earlier in the open qualifier. It did not go the way of Dignitas. It was 2-1 in favor of Immortals. Another very good game. We're hoping for the same thing here. We've got the same map pool, just in a different order, and Haven is the map we will find ourselves landed upon.
Yo, let's give a very quick shout out though, and this is well deserved. Shot Up is back on the server.
Oh,
amazing. Hey, so Shot Up, for those that don't know, he had a medical emergency earlier on during a game, and he had to leave. His team ended up going in a 4-on-5, and they won that map. They ended up still losing out 2-1 after with Shanks playing, but even then, now Shot Up is back, and potentially this team could be even stronger. Now, it's a 3-on-4. Dignitas on the back lines, and you have Immortals booting their way up right up the A site.
Oh, there's not a lot they can do. dephh, oh, that's quick. That's deadly. But in the corner lays awake one. Oh! Jumping is Dig. And dephh digs them a hole and puts some in it. That is clean from the backside with a classic first round for Dignitas. And just like that, we're off to a booming start to kick this best of 3 off.
A massive, massive start for Dignitas. They were already on the back foot, but a very quick rotation over towards the A site was more than worth it for this team to end up holding back Immortals. So at this point now, folks, you have Immortals sitting up on what would be just a hard half buy. Even Shot Up, he is going to be able to buy up the Sheriff, but again, he's had some of the best, like some of the best plays that we've seen here on the Castaways TV.
Oh my God.
I think one of them was, you know, I think like top post, I think top 2, top 3 posts of the Valorant competitive Reddit, where it was Shot Up's like 3K on site.
That was insane.
On A side ascent. Oh my. Shot Up, he's real good with the Sheriff, but again, he's not going to be playing with it. Instead, it's just classics all over the place. So, Shot Up, he does still get himself a kill. dephh around the corner. He also still has a classic in his hands. Genghsta takes one back, so that's going to be at least 2 guns out of the hands of this squad, and maybe even another one, but Psalm takes him down at the very end. So Dignitas, one player, you know, ended up going down at the very beginning, then a second. That's a little bit more damage than expected. So Immortals, they are sitting pretty now with rifles, but the cash is against them.
Oh yeah, 100% the cash. Definitely not looking too good here for the side of Immortals, but I think undoubtedly they should be just fine. Third round, feels like it's gone by in a blur, but ultimately Dignitas, they've just made it very quick and painless. Immortals, this one seems to be a little bit changed in pace. Very aggressive towards this A side. You leave just one player over towards C. I believe that is going to be Neptune on the Omen. So you leave him out there to lurk, see what he can accomplish, see if he can find anything. Psalm just taking this juggle. 3 players on the safe side as well. Keep in mind that. Killjoy down in the center. That'll be dephh. They've actually diverted 2 players now here, Immortals, towards this C side. And again, very slow and confident. Okay, got a little bit scary there just for a second, but Dig, nothing given up just yet. A main, or apologies, A long control seems to be highly contested with everybody here on Dignitas starting to fight for it. Immortals, they'll take control of it though, as the remaining 3 players on this A bomb site, they concede it and they'll disperse elsewhere.
One player over towards C at the moment, if I'm not mistaken.
Here.
Just give me a second here, Sully. Now we're fine. We're chilling. Yeah, like I mentioned, one player over towards C long, and he's going to be on the front lines of that. It's going to be supamen taking down jcStani. Shot up with a return frag, but Psalm on the back lines. Again, good crossfire, and not only that, but good anti-flash. You're still going to have Psalm around the corner just to try to capitalize. jmoh, a good attempt, but the rifles have failed Immortals. Neptune now, the last person remaining in a 1v3, incredibly low on HP. He's already revealed for info. Oh, Shock Dart almost finished him off. 25 seconds left. The best thing that he can do is try to get that spike down, but watch out for the Jett that has to cross. It's going to be none other than Orderus. 3-0 start for Dignitas, and they're going to be able to extend this just in the next round, Sully.
Two rifles picked up as well from that last round. Immortals essentially nearly fully reset. It'll have to be an eco here, a half buy at the very most. 2 stingers, 3 sheriffs to play with. Dignitas, they've got all the rifles they could ever ask for. And here's another chance to really get the economic ball rolling. Just for some context, the last time that these 2 teams did play, I did mention they were in the UMG Open Qualifier number 2, which just happened a couple of days ago. So, surprise, surprise, they're meeting here. It did go 2-1 in Immortals. Haven was the last and third, or the final and third map that they played. That went 13-11 in favor of the Immortals. So, Currently, Dignitas having a really solid start, 3-0 up. It should be a guaranteed fourth, not to mention probably more to come after, just given the way their economy is set up and the way that Immortals have theirs. Very fragile at this given point, but they have taken the C sites. Perhaps a little bit of a broken area for Dignitas. The spike will inevitably go down. 4 versus 5 now. jcStani hoping to get something here in Garage.
jcStani, he's not going to be the one to capitalize. Instead, it's actually going to be shot up from right behind. Orderus in a little bit of a weird spot. These stingers can be oh so dangerous, but dephh now, he's farming, make it a third form. Round has been swept up back for Dignitas at the very end, so they restrict the bleeding. But great attempt from Immortals over towards Garage. They overwhelm, and they really just concentrate all their efforts into one choke point. That's probably the most important thing that they had off of that eco, where again, they're facing up against the rifles. If they just have scattered approaches over towards site, crossfires with the stingers, they're not exactly going to reach, and it's not confident. If you guys, especially over towards the C side of Haven, it's going to be a real easy job for you to just concentrate into one choke point and just hit them with a barrage of bullets. That's exactly what they did, and it was successful to an extent. 2 kills, more reinvestments for Dignitas, but Immortals, that's at least that's a mental dub for them more than anything.
Oh, Recon Bolt. dephh has been revealed. That'll force him to back away. He's opted to change up his setup. He went from B utility being utilized back to this A bomb site, which makes a lot more sense. We discussed it in the last best of the year we got to cast about how you need that central on this A bomb site. Play that retake scenario. Psalm has been and as inevitably spotted out by that owl drone, but him and dephh sit tight on this A bomb site. Neptune, he might have been full blind, but he still gets that frag. Lockdown to go in Neptune. He's got to be aggressor, and he has to find these frags, but is only able to collect one for now. Genghsta is able to locate and trace back that lockdown, and it gives him a little bit more room to work, or should I say, it gives him a little bit more room to work with. Genghsta now left in a 1 versus 3. There is a spike on his back, but the position's assumed here by the rest of Dignitas definitely doesn't favor him whatsoever.
Not at all. He knows that someone's over towards long, especially with an earlier shot and really just the round flow in general. Just good comms. But of course, he does have the spike. If he does escape over towards short, he's going to get trapped. If he wants to escape back towards main, he's trapped. So almost literally the only place that he could possibly stay at is this A site. Just has to vibe out. That dart isn't going to catch anything, but in goes the paranoia. No drop just yet, so Genghsta is actually chilling at the moment. There's no flashes to even take him out, so if anything, he could just keep fragging. But Orderus snags a huge one onto Genghsta. Yeah, the spike is going to help him out in terms of economy, but that was a buy round for Immortals. Dignitas are rolling over the squad.
Yeah, for sure, especially on the defensive side. It's been very strong here for Dignitas. 5-0 lead. Orderus has still got the operator, which I think is the most important thing. I like the caution in that retake. You don't want to risk the guns you've got because your economy, it is definitely still developing. Had they needed to invest, Orderus wouldn't have 4.1 here. You would have to reinvest into an operator, possibly even go glass cannon. So nice and cautious from Dignitas, ensuring that the economy comes first. And, well, unfortunately for Immortals, 0-5 is how they kick things off. Obviously, was shot up back in the lineup over Shanks. A lot of questions for me, at least, do arise is, how is he going to be mentally, right? You just came back from the hospital. You're definitely not going to be in the most proper mindset, I'd say, for a best of 3 like this. So Immortals, there are a lot of concerns for me, at least in terms of how they just played, what the game they just played, how shot up is feeling, and a lot of other factors going into this. So Dignitas, I think if anything, this is probably one of their best chances to have some revenge on the team that they were almost knocked out by in the open qualifiers.
Now coming over to the present day, we're hyping this up for a reason, folks. This is very much a monumental time for both of these teams. It's make or break, and you don't really expect kind of the caliber of these two teams to face off, you know, moderately early into a system like this, into a tournament like this. But now we do have a big opportunity off this Hunter's Fury. MAKKA, you gotta be kidding me with that. He ends up hitting 3 players off of that one. Jeez. So much damage done onto these players on site. And not only that, but that just makes the task for Dignitas so much easier. In goes dephh. You do have a molly in the corner, but that's not actually gonna connect. That's not gonna actually equate into a kill. In comes shot up, but jmoh on the front lines gets traded out. Last person remaining is neptune now with a spray down, but MAKKA comes in with a jumping classic. And in the scuffle, in the chaos, he ends up getting himself a 3K, and Dignitas, through the rubble, snag a 6th.
It's definitely a lot closer than I think anybody would have expected. Dignitas especially, they've been having such a clean defensive side. They do hold on to the operator, but that one got really, really dicey towards the tail end. It could have gone either way, but a jumping classic from MAKKA is what ends up saving them that round. Dignitas, they hold on to the flawless start, but is it going to be enough? When they last played on Haven, it was a very, very strange game. 11-1 is what it started off with, Immortals on the defensive side. And then you swap over to Dignitas, who ended up scoring 10 rounds on their defensive side. So definitely give a little bit of credit here for Immortals, looking at the past, looking at the history between these two teams, how they just recently played against each other in a best-of-3 series. Don't be too worried if you're an Immortals fan. There definitely is some room to work with, given that stat line I just proposed. Immortals, when they get to that offensive side, definitely expect a little bit more from them. But in this round, I'm not expecting too much. Orderus spraying through the smoke, looking maybe for an opening pick, but nothing comes to him. And for now, Immortals, they'll get the spike down, and they'll retreat from the B bombs, like concede the insight control, and try and hold it from the outside.
One of the most beautiful things to watch in all of Valorant, kind of like you can't really look away from a car crash. It's a 5-on-5 retake of one of the most pinched out sites in all of Valorant. It's that Type B site. And now these players are starting to have a war. Couple of defensive players are already on that site, but there's a couple of smokes all over it. jcStani with a kill on through. MAKKA going for the defuse. He could get taken down out of nowhere, but no, it's not gonna happen. The defuse goes down. 2 players survive for Dignitas. They won't even get exited. The score is 7-0, and Dignitas again find a way to steal a round from Immortals. And I say the word steal, but they're just all over them just in that one round. Sure, it's highway robbery, but man, oh man, Dignitas looking so good.
It truly is highway robbery. The last 4 rounds have all been spike defusals, and those are the actual crucial rounds, the Ripo rounds, the Eco rounds, the full buy rounds, the investments made by Immortals. Those last 4 have been spiked defused, and that says a lot. Immortals, they're getting success. They're able to work their way onto the bomb site. Granted, one of them was a tricky situation at the very least for a 1v1 clutch, and another 1v1 clutch. So give some credit to Immortals. They're working around the sites, but it comes down to the nitty-gritty. They're having good mid-round executions, but they have to figure it out, close it out in the late round when it really does matter, when it all comes down to who gets the spike defuse, or if that spike goes off. jcStani teeping into the back of the A bomb site, trying to clear things out, checking underneath Heaven. He's got this side on lockdown so far. MAKKA can't do anything in the Heavens. No utility to play with except for a shock dart on the recon bolt, and he'll more than likely need to save onto that for the retake, as once again, the car crash, a 5v5 retake.
So dephh launching out through, who's on that front end. Good stuff from Orderus early on just to get a kill over towards A long. But not only that, but oh, listen to the noise Orderus is making at the moment. I don't think we actually can, but he's stomping his way all the way back towards site. So the person watching short for Immortals, he's just gonna be chilling on site. Now look at this Superman just right from behind. That's a beautiful teleport that could open up this entire round, and indeed it will. Superman steps up to the plate like an absolute hero, and 3 players survive once again for Dignitas on the round. 8-0 start, and again that retake done beautifully and executed, I want to say, in a scattered manner, because earlier on you had Orderus with initial kill in long. Every single player waited outside the actual site. Every single one waited for Orderus to approach, and just like that they had the flow chart to go. That is amazing to me.
Keep that tab open, because this 3 crosses with X's through them, or 3 circles with X's through them, the 3 defusals, or 4 or 5 defusals, apologies, I can't even count, but that says a lot. Immortals, again, they get onto the site, but they can't lock it down. It was good as well. jcStani teeping all the way to the back of A, clears essentially everything out. It should have been a perfect round there for the likes of Immortals, but doesn't pan out. Orderus, once more on this operator, found the first pick in that retake, and he might find the first in this round. Yes, he does. Headshot to jmoh, who's had a rough day in terms of Valorant in his statistics, but that won't be changed whatsoever. Orderus puts him away, and now there's more to come. Solom will go out aggressive with the run it back. He'll be sent back. And now a 5v4 with HP very, very low on the likes of Orderus, down to just 3 with the spray through the side from shot up. Can he find a second here? He can maybe just convert the operator, neglects that HP factor, but shot up catches him unawares. Orderus not quick enough on the reaction and shot up. He's created such a big gap here now on the B bomb site.
And again, it's not exactly that Dignitas is like an insanely special team on Haven. Right? They actually have some pretty average stats. They only have a 53% win rate and only a 54% defensive win rate. So, if anything, this is just a reawakening for this squad. But now here we go. Just off this round alone, it's going to be a 4-on-3. Immortals once again on the back end. Again, very easy paranoid to actually pull up. A MAKKA going to be able to get a little bit of damage. And then Neptune at the very end with a frag. jcStani, 1 burst, 2 kills. Easy peasy.
No.
Make it a 3rd. Make it a 4th. Come on, get in there. jcStani gets Immortals around. And finally, with a huge performance from jcStani, boy, I mean, they just want some sort of consolation out of this.
That's what they needed. Finally, something under their belts. Haven hasn't treated them well so far on their attacking side. It hasn't historically against Dignitas. Again, only 2 rounds that they've acquired on that attacking side. And keep in mind, that was a time when they beat them 13-11. So imagine what the defensive side holds. 11 rounds is what they had the last time they met. So Immortals, can they get a little bit more here? Can they beat what they did against Dignitas the last time they met? That's the question. And here we go. Slow but steady for Immortals. This time more or less a default. A lot more concentrated, though, it looks like, towards this C site. 2 smokes. 1 at the mouth and 1 at the base. But it doesn't stop the aggression here from jcStani. He'll push on through. There is 1 player here. Superman's got to go big. And he's got to stay strong here for the likes of Dignitas. He comes to swing, but he misses. Nothing connects and no headshots go flying. Still, a 4 versus 5. Dignitas are on the back foot, though. They're coming on in for this retake, and it leaves 4 players here for the likes of Immortals on this C site with 1 player lurking down towards middle.
1 person lurking, but it's still going to be Som up close to try to get the kill, and he does. And now in comes the Killjoy ulti. It's incredibly strong for retakes, and you see it once again. jcStani stuck in a corner. Orderus going to be able to take him down. Now every other player for this team stuck over towards long. You have Orderus quickly trying to get himself that flank over towards, oh my god, over towards Market, and it's working. Genghsta through the wall, however, and now jmoh is here. Genghsta gets the 4K. What on earth was that from Immortals?
I thought you were going to say him murders, because Jesus, they just slaughtered that round.
Man.
Immortals, that is absurd. Another insane play from another great individual, Genghsta. He played superb against T1. And when they need it most, when Immortals are down and almost kicked out of the game, he holds on. A massive 4K from both him and jcStani, back-to-back. Insane plays for Immortals. It's what gets them through this game. It's what will get them through this half, I feel like. And currently, they've bested, or they're just at their best scoreline against the side of Dignitas, the attacking side of Haven. 2 rounds acquired. Maybe looking for a little bit more to give them some sort of cushion moving forward. But Dignitas, maybe just a little bit of a wake-up call. Complacency kills, and clearly Immortals are killing this round.
Oh, man. All right. Immortals getting hype, but look at the full picture. Dignitas, I still stand very firm on the fact that they just stomped all over them. I mean, just that retake alone on C was more than enough. They just need a little bit more coverage over towards long, and that would have been it for the round. But instead,
get out of my way.
I mean, a 2v4 ain't easy, man. I don't know what to tell you. That was just amazing. That was just incredible. Here we go again, though, folks. It is going to be Dignitas. Now a couple of pistols. So it's not easy at all. There's 1 player over towards long, and it is going to be an 8-take for the Immortals side. Again, they still do have a player lurking over towards C, but it is going to be minute for now. dephh still taking on an interaction. 3 players approaching between main and heaven. And now look at Orderus now. He's got the knives up close. Needed that shot. It's a shot up. Now in comes Supamen. Oh my god! Gets himself 2. Knows that there's going to be a person flanking. And, I mean, the round's over. The round is over. Hunter's Fury currently in the hands of... of the
God, you're lying. You're
Wait,
lying.
whoa, whoa.
You're lying.
What are
You're
they
lying.
doing? What are they doing? What? jmoh at the very end gets it, but they got it within milliseconds, Sully.
Charges left.
Last round.
That was
before the
probably the easiest defuse I have ever seen, but it just did not happen at the end. Oh, my mind is blown.
I was on. If that defuse came through, there would have been some words I would have given that definitely were not TOS friendly. My God, that you mentioned Hunter's Fury, and I'm like, oh yeah,
My brain hurts,
it should basically be over. But oh my God, that is way too close, and honestly a little bit uncomfortable. Supamen, what a clutch that would have been. Basically a 1v4, 2 off the sheriff, and then a ninja defuse. Essentially, Genghsta though is flushing players on out. It will be an assist on Hunter's Fury for shot up. They clear out the C site. Spike goes down. dephh waiting alongside the smoke. 3 versus 4 now. He'll push on through, but he's tagged 66. Okay. Still gets a frag nonetheless. It's down to a 3v3 here, Gus. And his HP, it has been taken away from him. They do still have the run it back for Psalm. But how does he generate space? How does he utilize this to open up the C site? There are players waiting inside it, players waiting all around. And with that kill, they concede garage control. And how big of a control would it be to hold on to?
In comes jcStani, good off angle. There's only one person remaining. He's all the way in his spawn. Great stuff at the very end. So Immortals winning the last 4 rounds in a row. But Dignitas still firmly in this game. 4 rounds above Immortals. It could have been way worse. It could have been so much worse. And I kind of liked kind of that play at the very end there from Immortals. I mean, just that C take, so coordinated, so calculated in a sense, because you had Genghsta in that back line with the Hunter's Fury, and you could tell that they labbed it. He has very specific spots where he ended up wanting to go with the Hunter's Fury. One in corner, one towards site, which is near Cubby. And then, of course, he ended up getting that first tick. So, of course, he's just going to follow him back over towards Market. But even then, what we're looking at from this Immortal side is tactical dominance. But even then, Dignitas, at least earlier on in this game, we're just winning all the 1v1s. That was really just the X factor to it.
Swarm grenade out.
dephh might want to take this peek. I think the alarm or turret will go down instead. Maybe that'll kind of put a little bit of a worm of doubt in the minds of Immortals. That could be a lurk, but instead it is a full commitment thanks to the spot in part by Genghsta. Shot up close, takes the heal instead of the dismiss, and Psalm takes 2 lines. There is still 2 to work with on the site. Supamen as well to try and reinforce. jcStani, very forefront angle, and goes the curveball, and down they go. You cannot be serious. jcStani, another huge 4K and a pistol round that they needed. 5 to 8. Once more we go again. Immortals pick up a big pistol to get the fire beneath them going.
This guy's cracked. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
2 4Ks in this game, by the way, and 2 of them, or both of them, were rounds that they ended up winning because of it.
Kids Clutch. He ended up getting the 2K at the very beginning of the round. Not the very beginning, off the take. And again, just held almost literally that same position. All he needed to do was just show off that aim that, again, he's been flaunting near the end of that first half and now in the second half. Now Dignitas. Down to pistols, which, again, it makes sense. We're talking about a double eco, or we're just talking about an eco round period. The method of double ecos is really when you get hard reset, and they haven't been hard reset just yet. So we are just dealing with just a hard eco at the moment. Funny stuff for jmoh. But even then, Neptune over towards mid. Very unfortunate. Not able to get all the damage in the world, but finally able to take down MAKKA. There's still one more player for him to take down. Actually, 2 in that mid area, but Superman ends up getting the frag with the classic. Potentially another one for Psalm if he can snag down a frag with a pistol, but it's simply not going to happen. Shot up, gets himself 3, and just like that, Immortals wins yet another round, but Dignitas will have the rifles into the next round.
I did say shot up. I was concerned because of the fact that he did indeed just come back from a medical condition, but clearly it hasn't affected him whatsoever. 12, 13, and 7. 7 assists to his name. The dude is playing so well mechanically that it clearly nothing has affected him whatsoever. 8 to 6 and Immortals. They look like they're back on track. They had 4 rounds on their attacking side, 2 times better what they did the last time these two teams met. So they're doing pretty good for themselves. This defensive side, it's been clean so far, but this is the real test. The first rifle round that the side of Dignitas will hold. Turret goes down, Owl Drone goes out to ensure that there is no peek from jmoh, and he really can't invest into a peek. He's really got to wait to see if the Killjoy backs away. If he hears that turret deactivate, but instead he spotted out. Nearly a peek in as well, but he does dash away, avoids almost certain death. And on the other side of the map, there has a frag. A frag has been collected. That maybe gives a little bit of room here for Immortals, like Shot Up, to get aggressive down middle. Around the smoke they go. They've got no idea. dephh, he turns around and he spots the player, but same thing with Shot Up, and he sits and waits in the smoke. This is big for dephh.
deph's still chilling. Oh no. Oh no. Massive for dephh, but it was Shot Up to get the frag. In goes Neptune now, and what a beautiful spot for Neptune! What was that flick back for supamen? And now jcStani steps up to the plate again! MAKKA off in a 1v4. He's gonna get picked down to 56 HP.
30 seconds left.
This round is essentially done for, but he could at least put up a fight.
Oh
my! It was a firing range for MAKKA, and he ended up getting 3 kills out of the 4. Oh. Man, oh man. Score is now 8-7. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, we see you guys in chat. First of all, let me explain something. If you guys were not here all day, I'm the cast. Well, myself, Sully, Boggs, Keith, Lawfortune, Ito. We were all casting today, but I'm also producing. So yes, there are FPS issues at the moment. I'll fix that in the break, but I kind of can't do that while I'm casting. This is a community stream for a reason. Kind of don't have those resources, but we'll fix them as soon as we can.
A little bit of a hole in the side of the boat. MAKKA should get this frag. He was full blind. Essentially, I don't know how dephh is going to sway in the back there, but he does have a frenzy. And it is only good for 1, unfortunately. Got a little bit scary, I'd say, with dephh all the way under heaven, but cleaned up nicely here by the side of Immortals. 8 rounds in a row. Both teams have traded 8 rounds for Dig to kick things off, and then 4 at the very end of the first half for Immortals, and 4 to kick it off to start. Here we go, though. Round number 5. Probably one of the most important that's going to be in this half, or I guess in the rest of this game. The first rifle v rifle round. jmoh's got an operator. No ops yet for the side of Dignitas. I doubt there will be, knowing how difficult it is on Haven. But here it comes. Rifles for both sides, and this is going to be a true test to see if Dignitas can pull things back, and maybe they can continue that dominance they had in the first, or the beginning of the first half, I should say.
The hunt begins.
So mid Shot Up.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Waiting for a natural approach, but for the rest of Dignitas, bouncing their way through markets. Still on the back. jmoh, 3 more players there for Immortals off the retake. Neptune in a great position, but that cage is still going to cover up. Shot Up with 1 onto Orderus. Neptune waiting for the spray down. Spike will not be able to go down. jcStani still waiting. In goes dephh. jcStani combined. 1 more player on site, and he goes down. Saw him now in a 1v3. Still able to take down Shot Up. So he has made this possible.
Ooh, he's got to get a read on this, though. The spike down and kind of what would be normally a post-plant situation, which clearly Dig were going for. The spike and a perfect line of sight for the 2 players down long. I think one of them as well has an operator, so possibilities for Psalm definitely start to dwindle, but he does have a blaze. I think that's something big as well, because Neptune's holding an angle instead down towards defender spawn, or apologies, attacking spawn. So there's a chance Psalm gets this blaze wall up. There's a chance he finds this frag. A dink. Look at the HP of both of them. The blaze wall. It needs to go up now. 10 seconds left. He takes the fight instead. He should have thrown that blaze wall up, but I think the heat of the moment got to him quite literally from the Phoenix. 9-8 here for Immortals for the first time in this game. They'll have the lead, and it's 9 straight in a row. But that's an example of what I think the rest of this game presents to us. Close rounds, and with the rifles in both teams' hands, it's bound to be exciting.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
You don't see this every day. 8 rounds in a row for one team, 9 rounds in a row for the other. That is the complete reverse sweep. But then again, there is 13 rounds being the goal at the very end of things. And, you know, as as John Madden would say, most likely, you need to win more rounds than the other team to win the game. So at this point, Immortals, they're still looking for 4 more rounds. Dignitas, what we're looking at in terms of economy, however, is a little bit of a reset. Is a little bit of a build-up. Immortals, they haven't been pegged down by any means throughout this half. So they've just been rebuying and rebuying and rebuying, and none of their players are going down, so they just keep holding on to the guns. And to an extent, Dignitas, they're not switching up their approach by any means, except for this round. This round that they have the pistols, they are in a little bit of a default. What a default means is exactly what it sounds like. It's the default setup for a team where everyone just holds up a singular angle, and you could see that almost every single choke point on this map was being held for a second there, really just waiting for a rush just to see what they could get off of the 1v1s, but nothing was won. And instead now Immortals, they take yet another 2-man advantage. Over towards that A site, you have jmoh in the back line, and he's just gonna have to pop off. He is in a weird angle considering the fact that nobody's watching short, and now Dignitas is up on the front lines. Oh, jmoh has to run, but supamen again with a sheriff going absolutely nuts. Spike will go down.
Spike down, Aldron goes in. They even have the Hunters here if they want to. Superman's made a TP instead into the lower bomb site or lower part of the map. Right underneath heaven, Orderus has gone aggressive. He's actually been able to get this AWP, or the operator, I should say. We're not on counter-strike, but it does feel like it with this retake going inside so slow. It will be 10-8 here. Immortals continuing their streak. 10 in a row so far, 6 on this defender side. I said don't be scared if you are an Immortals fan. It was 11 in a row that they got to compete with the last time they played on defense. So if history does end up repeating itself, which it doesn't look like it will, Immortals should be able to get these last 3 all knotted up and tied, squared, closed, shut on this first map. But Dignitas, one more buy to go with after the financial turmoil that presented them in the last.
Looking at the setup, it is a little bit weird. Can I get an eye on these attackers real quick? Yeah, there you go. So that's why. All right, so in Hunter's Fury, double early Hunter's Fury. And again, very common spot for Genghsta to be there. And just like that, MAKKA completely counters it. That's just 100, like, that's just 1,000 IQ. Waiting for the Hunter's Fury with your own Hunter's Fury, knowing that your opponent is just going to be stuck in that one position is just, it's almost genius. Good stuff coming in from the Dignitas side. And I'm saying that purely because they've just been looking for frags. They need some sort of opening. And although they got it, they already lost out on one player. It's already back to a 4-on-4. Shut up in a beautiful position, beautiful off angle towards this, towards long. He's still going to be able to take down Orderus. Fat frag, but even then, the site might be taken up by the Dignitas side. Watch out for the cross. jmoh can't get the shot in. So now it's a 3-on-2, Sully.
Spike planted.
Shot up killed as well on the flank. That could have been big had he kept his life alive. jcStani has crawled back into the site. Phantom in hand, but a Vandal to his face. Saw him, rips him apart. It's just down to Neptune. Can he find anything in this site? He works alone. Neptune crawling, crouching into it. Finds the first. No damage done at all. He even has an ult to play with, but he needs this frag. He's dinked down as well. The timing's not on his side. He could have had the frag on the Psalm. But Psalm peeks around at the perfect moment and pulls the trigger a little bit quicker. 9-10. Finally, the streak has been broken, and maybe we can have a little bit of a round trade-off. Dignitas have found their first of the half and have found their first in 10 rounds that have been played. There we go. Maybe just something can come for this dig side, and maybe they can tie it up here, but the money's still available here for the side of Immortals. They have plenty of spend. And jcStani can pick up the Phantom as well as the last person to buy. But Dignitas, 1 round has been picked up, but you need 4 more. And currently, 6 in a row have gone in this defensive half for Immortals. It doesn't look optimal, especially with jmoh finding this first frag.
Over. You're dead.
Early frag already, but in comes Psalm. He's off to run it back, and he has to run it all the way back. jmoh now on the front lines needed that pick, but now he's waiting for a cross in. Shut Up is actually going to cover up dephh. You still have MAKKA just going absolutely nuts. Very flicky in a sense, and Genghsta, great hold. Supamen, the last person remaining now in a 1v3, will be able to teleport all the way back towards A, and he's not going to go for the plants. Instead, he wants to cut off the rotation. This is huge if this could actually work.
It's not Immortals. They're reading into it perfectly. I like this as well. jmoh's like, okay, if he was actually going to plant, then it would have already gone down by now. But he's waiting. He wants to see if he can out-IQ Supamen. And now that the spike has gone down, you can see on the minimap the movement generated. Supamen, owl drone goes in. He's got to avoid it. You have to avoid that owl drone. And I think he did just barely.
No, he didn't.
Supamen.
He's still searching.
It's hunting him down. It spotted him. They know where he is. And now he can get straight on through. They can stick the spike if they want to already. Supamen in a tough position. A 1v3. Smoke in his face. The spike's already been stuck in the round. It's already over. Genghsta just picks it up. The cherry on top is this hat trick. An 11-9. Immortals.
No more charges left.
No streak yet for Dignitas, but the trade goes back, and here we come, Immortals. 2 rounds to go to win this first map.
Again, a great idea for Supamen, but it almost seemed like it was hard red. Also, I wish we actually had just an angle on that owl drone because I wanted to see if he could actually see him. Because he was just running away and maybe his head was caught. Something of the sort.
Yeah, like a sliver of his body. That's the thing with the outlines, right? In Valorant, it's like, oh, well, there's a red outline there. I think there's someone there, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
It's like, and you might miss it in like a game like CS because the colors, the textures, but you know, your bright red outline, if you miss it, then it's awkward, you know?
Yeah. Well, here we go again, folks. jmoh. Looking for at least a little bit of an approach. Smart to run away from that owl drone because you do have a player for Dignitas up and short that was following that owl drone, just waiting for a click. And that's going to be dephh. Such a deep Killjoy ulti. The lockdown is going to execute him. Wow, he just doesn't defend it at all. That would have won out the round, but instead we see here dephh. Now he has to fight. Now he has to cross. Now that short area is invaded, and he does end up getting 2 beautiful from Psalm. Neptune now in a 1v4, and this round is done for. But again, I said that dephh wasn't fighting it, but instead he was just crossing it. He was literally baiting out the lockdown just for those players to end up just filtering into that one spot. It's a lot smarter than I thought, and now at this point, Immortals, they're going to be losing a round because of that play, unless Neptune can pull something absolutely nuts.
Curveball goes in. Great double swing as well from the rest of Dignitas. A little bit of a different storyline. They trade rounds back and forth. And yeah, dephh, that lockdown, I guess you could call it bait, but the more important thing is that jcStani tosses a paranoia, and it would have worked out perfectly, right? The bait, it was kind of like a smart bait, but also not at the same time because he was kind of caught out by himself. You don't know how many players are going to swarm you. You hear those footsteps, paranoia goes in. He can't defend it, unfortunately. That could have been an easy round for Immortals. I like the idea of pushing that, pushing the lockdown, trying to get rid of it as fast as possible, because then you know that the rest of Dig, they're more than likely, if they're down towards long, they're going to be waiting. They're waiting for the lockdown to go off. They're trying to play around that. But the fact that nobody pushes for Immortals down to cover long, that's what creates the biggest gap, is that a flank comes in from long, cuts down the 2 players that did aggress to get the lockdown. And then from there on out, it was basically a 3v4 for the rest of the round. And those players up long were able to catch the players not watching long, catch them off guard, shut them down. And now we have attack pause. I have to imagine this is going to be or Dignitas, if I didn't read the chat correctly. So maybe a moment to breathe. It was a good round from the last, but again, these rounds have definitely been a little bit too close for comfort.
Now that we have just a simple moment just to chill out, gonna see if I can fix up some stuff because again, I'm the only guy essentially. We do have an observer, however. Shout outs to Ty. He's been here all day, man.
Much love to Ty. Ty's insane.
Much love, but the thing with our system is that we're currently running observing off of my PCs, so parsec, all that. If you guys know about production, it's a little weird. It's a little weird, but hey,
NA production.
NA production, exactly that. It's NA production. But let's see if this could at least fix it up a little bit. It seems to be like a network error more than anything. And again, I do apologize, guys, but as soon as we get into a break or something of the sort, like a hard break, I'll be able to restart my PC and all that. We'll get into it. But I just wanted to thank everyone for their patience. I did try to just restrict FPS. Oh, there he is. He's trying to go for it. What do you see there, Ty? Is there anything crazy? Am I hiding like a secret setting that would just tank my entire PC? Looks like I was actually, because the frame rate actually ended up going up. So I did it. I fixed it maybe. Sully, who knows? We're just going to have to see throughout the game if it ended up working. But ladies and gentlemen, for those tuning in for the first time, we have been here not only all day today, we were here 4 days last week. We were here for the last 2 days covering these closed qualifiers. It has been an absolute pleasure. I hope you guys have been enjoying the play. And this is the very last broadcast that we have here on the channel. If you guys are interested in any of our content, any other cast that we do, we're a group of 5 young, dedicated, up-and-coming casters. You can follow us on Twitter at CastawaysFPS. You can follow us here on Twitch, of course, twitch.tv/Castaways TV. And otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting right back into our game because we are getting in what is the most dramatic moment of this match. We're getting into what would be the graveyard rounds. It's 11-10, do or die.
Oh, Genghsta watches the nano storm grenade. Cuts it off. That could have been big, maybe in a post-plant scenario, but better safe than sorry. Take it out before it has any implications. And oh, that curveball, that does literally nothing. jcStani sending even in a paranoia to help his teammate shot up out, but Orderus has digressed, pushing forward into the site, pushing beyond the limits. And it's netted Dignitas here, 2 kills. Shock dart from Genghsta doesn't do too much damage, but damage dealt onto at least 1. Salma's sitting on a sliver of HP, and they don't have that Omen. They don't have those extra smokes. They've only got Jetts, and they only last for X amount of time. So someone's got to get on the spike, and he's already used 2 here. jmoh's expending them all. Spray from Salma, but a spray back goes his way. They're already on the spike. Tap to happier. Nanostorm grenade doesn't even connect. I thought that could have been the killing blow, but instead it's a shock dart, and dephh has got Genghsta in his trap. 11-11. There we go. Dignitas are back on the board, and they end up tying it up now.
Here.
Dignitas, at least on a little bit of their wave back. They will be able to most likely confirm out map point in this next one. Because look at the buyback for Immortals. They know for a fact that, of course, if they end up force buying here, they would put themselves in an even worse position, in an even worse situation. It would be against the 12-11. And it would just be all in. So to this extent, Immortals, they are dropping regulation. Just hoping for overtime at this point. And this round is just super easy for Dignitas. They don't even know what the buy is like for Immortals at the moment. So that's why they're all the way back at their spawn, because they honestly just have no clue how Immortals is even going to play this round. They see the economy in their tab, right? That's just kind of a thing that happens in this game. I don't really know why you can see your opponent's economy at the very beginning of rounds, but it is what it is, right? So to that extent, they kind of read that out. They're just like, oh, all right. Are they going to force buy? Are they not? And it looks like just at least off of that first contact, doesn't seem like it will be. jcStani, however, he's already back on site with a stinger. Orderus, MAKKA here to try to combine for the frag, and indeed they do. Now it's a 3-on-5. And, well, Immortals, really, they're just looking for what would be a little bit of damage, potentially make their way back on site. It would be a miracle if it happens, and they would need this first frag from jmoh, but it's not going to happen. Neptune now, searching, hunting, can't get Som. Genghsta in a 1v5. Supamen, good shot. 12-11. It is now map point for Dignitas, and they want to head into map 2 with the advantage.
Whoa, a flip scoreline from the last time. 13-11 on Haven, back in the open qualifiers. And now 1 round away from turning the entire tide of this game, giving themselves a leg up in this best-of-3 series. And Immortals, from that upper bracket, just lost to T1. Hoping to keep that momentum going. It was a very good game. Keep that in mind. So against Dignitas, we were expecting a big performance. They have delivered. Same with Dignitas, though. Hoping maybe for a little bit more to close out this first map. Dignitas need 1 final round, and Salma's looking to close this one out with an opening towards the C site. has been caught up by the tripwire, but it doesn't stop him from getting aggressive. Finally, he will be put back to his place, and now in comes the Hunter's Fury. That's from the opposing side. Immortals are just trying to clear out this A bomb site, surprisingly. Genghsta sees nothing, but that doesn't mean there is nobody there. They'll double check. They'll put 2 players here. jmoh even investigating for the op. Psalm finds a big frag, but nobody here on the side of Immortals has bitten into it. 2 players still the way. Genghsta's got to get the frag, but down he goes. jmoh's got to go massive. He needs to get frags here, and if he doesn't, the round could be over. Dashing in, that is way too risky. jmoh might have just made a play that could have cost them the game, could have cost them the map, and now just 2 players, 1 player remaining, and a 1v5 jcStani has to do something astonishing.
Cover going out.
At least has a chance. Took down at least 1. That chance is dwindling. There's 2 players right behind this, but there's a... Oh no, this is disastrous. And a flank from Psalm. And that's going to be the end of game number 1. So, all right, Dignitas. They had an incredibly strong start, but they ended up slowing all the way down, Sully. But even then, they were still able to hold on to a couple of rounds at the very end of things.
Yeah, 4 rounds at the very end in a row to close it out. Strong.